Hello, and welcome to TerraNash. I'm Aiden, your narrator for tonight. Let's take this time together to step away from the rush of the day and ease into a world of dreams and wonder. Tonight, I'll tell you a story. The Ascent to the Mount of the Gods. It's a tale of adventure, of climbing a mountain so high that it reaches into the realm of the divine, where wishes are said to be granted by the gods themselves. But as our travelers make their way up, they'll discover that the path to the summit is not just one of hope, but of understanding. A journey that teaches them that sometimes the greatest wishes are the ones that come from within. But before we begin, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from? And what time is it as you settle in to hear this story? We'd also love to know what kinds of stories you'd enjoy next. Your thoughts and suggestions inspire us, so please share them in the comments below. If you'd like even more from us, you can check out our Patreon for early access to all our stories and a curated Spotify playlist as well. Oh, and I wanted to share an important update with you. Currently, less than 10% of our viewers are subscribed to the channel, which means more than 90% of you haven't subscribed yet. If you've been enjoying our bedtime stories, subscribing is a simple and free way to support us. Reaching 1,000 subscribers will allow us to remove all mid-roll ads, ensuring a completely uninterrupted and relaxing experience for you. Your support means the world to us, and together we can make TerraNash an even more peaceful place for storytelling. Now, let's begin. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it out gently. Let the weight of the day slip away and feel yourself sinking into a comfortable, peaceful space. Allow your body to relax, your mind to quiet, and your heart to open to the story that awaits. Imagine yourself standing at the foot of a towering mountain, its peak shrouded in mist. The journey ahead is uncertain, but filled with the promise of something magical. As you take the first step towards this great adventure, feel the cool breeze on your skin, hear the soft crunch of the earth beneath your feet, and allow yourself to be carried into the tale where the gods themselves await. And so, our story begins. In a land where the days were long and the nights whispered secrets of hope, there lay a realm battered by the storms of war and the harsh winds of famine. Amid the trials of everyday survival, a gentle spark of promise flickered. A whisper of a legend passed down through quiet conversations by the hearth. It spoke of the Mount of the Gods, a mystical peak said to touch the heavens, where the divine might bestow a single, life-altering wish upon those brave enough to reach its summit. Our story begins with a group of kindred spirits, each drawn by the promise of healing and renewal. There was Aiden, an elderly healer whose soft eyes had seen both sorrow and wonder. Lyra, a courageous young warrior with a heart full of untold dreams and steadfast determination. And Elowen, a quiet yet resolute scholar, whose love for ancient lore sparked a belief in the miraculous. Together, they felt the call of destiny pulling them toward the mountain, each step a gentle beat in a lullaby of hope. Under a sky slowly melting from twilight to starlight, they gathered at the edge of a village where the air was thick with the scent of rain and earth. The murmurs of elders and the soft sighs of the wind seemed to echo the promise of the mountain, as if nature itself conspired to guide them on their journey. In that serene moment, their worries of war and hunger seemed to fade into a distant memory, replaced by the anticipation of something wondrous, a chance to mend the broken world with the magic of their collective courage. With hearts light and spirits intertwined, the trio embarked on their journey. Each step along the winding path felt like a quiet prayer for a better tomorrow. The soft crunch of leaves underfoot and the gentle murmur of a nearby stream became a soothing symphony, a lullaby that eased their minds and warmed their souls. It was here, at the very beginning of their ascent, that the promise of the Mount of the Gods began to weave its magic, inviting them, and us, to believe that even in the darkest of times, a spark of hope can light the way to a brighter future. As our adventurers ventured further from the familiar warmth of their village, the landscape began to transform into a realm of subtle challenges. The path soon led them to a vast river of shifting sands, a natural barrier that stretched as far as the eye could see. The sands, aglow with the soft light of dawn, moved like liquid gold under the gentle touch of the wind, creating a mesmerizing yet daunting spectacle. The group paused at the river's edge, their hearts pulsing with a mix of awe and trepidation. Aiden, with his years of wisdom, was the first to step forward. He knelt by the riverbank, observing the subtle patterns in the sand's movement. "Patience," he murmured, his voice as calm as a gentle stream. "And the right steps will always find a way." His words were a soothing balm to his companions, reminding them that every obstacle, no matter how intimidating, could be met with careful thought and quiet perseverance. Lyra's eyes, ever vigilant, scanned the horizon for safe passage, while Elowen delicately traced ancient symbols in the soft earth, a silent prayer for guidance from the old law that had always been her sanctuary. As they prepared to cross, the adventurers discovered that the River of Sands was not merely a physical barrier, but also a test of trust and collaboration. The sands shifted unpredictably, forming small, unstable paths that beckoned them forward one step at a time. Together, they chose a narrow, winding track that seemed to hold promise amidst the uncertainty. With each careful footstep, the group synchronized their movements, their collective rhythm echoing the gentle lull of nature itself. The sound of the shifting sand mingled with their quiet breaths, creating a serene symphony that resonated with the heart of the earth. In that moment, the river of shifting sands transformed from a formidable trial into a silent teacher, reminding the travelers that the journey is as much about the inner strength and trust we nurture as it is about the physical steps we take. As they crossed the delicate path, the rising sun painted the sands with a soft, golden hue, symbolizing the dawn of hope and resilience, and the promise that even the most uncertain paths can lead to the light of a new beginning. As the adventurers neared the base of the mountain, the air shifted and danced around them with an almost musical quality. A gentle yet persistent wind began to rise, swirling leaves and carrying with it murmurs that seemed to speak directly to each heart. The wind was not harsh or menacing. Instead, it whispered like a lullaby full of secrets and promises, its soft cadence inviting the travelers to listen closely. Lyra was the first to feel the enchantment of the breeze. As it caressed her face, a clear, resonant voice spoke of courage and destiny. It promised her glory and a chance to become the hero her world so desperately needed. The wind carried visions of triumph and the admiration of countless souls, and for a moment, Lyra felt as though she could soar on the wings of destiny. Elowen, too, was not untouched by the murmuring air. The wind's gentle whisper shifted into a tender melody, evoking memories of a past filled with love and loss. In the quiet voices of the breeze, she saw fleeting images of a family long separated by time and hardship. Each whispered note carried the scent of familiar laughter and warm embraces, beckoning her to follow the path of reconnection and healing. Caden, ever the wise guide of the group, felt a different call altogether. The wind's message to him was laced with caution, its tone soft yet insistent, a gentle reminder of the dangers that lay ahead. The murmurs warned him to consider turning back, to protect what little peace they had left in a world scarred by war and famine. Though his heart was heavy with concern, he listened, knowing that the winds often carried both wisdom and misdirection. Despite the allure of these personal promises, the trio found themselves standing together, united by a shared resolve. The winds, as enchanting as they were, sowed seeds of doubt and temptation in their hearts. Yet, even as the voices tempted them with dreams of grandeur, reunion, or safety, the unspoken bond among them held strong. They recognized that these ethereal whispers, though soothing, were but gentle tests of their inner strength and commitment to the journey. In that serene, yet mystifying moment, the wind's soft susurrations merged with the heartbeat of the mountain. The adventurers took a deep, calming breath, grounding themselves in the present. They chose to acknowledge the alluring promises of the wind without letting them distract from the path ahead. With each step forward, they maintained a steady pace, allowing the mystical murmurs to enhance their determination rather than lead them astray. And so, beneath the vast expanse of a sky brushed with the hues of dusk, the adventurers pressed on, guided by the enchanting whispers, yet united in their shared quest. The wind, with all its gentle secrets, continued to sing as they ventured closer to the mystical mountain, preparing them for the trials and revelations that awaited at its summit. As the adventurers ascended further, the rugged path began to transform into a realm of wonder and quiet magic. The air grew noticeably lighter, as if each breath lifted the burdens of the past and filled them with renewed hope. Vibrant wildflowers began to bloom in the most unexpected crevices along the path, their delicate petals catching the light and reflecting hues of gold, lavender, and blush. A gentle reminder that beauty often flourishes in even the harshest of landscapes. The mountain itself seemed to respond to their presence. Its once stern, rocky facade softened into a welcoming tapestry of nature's miracles. Wisps of mist danced playfully around ancient stones, and beams of sunlight broke through the clouds in radiant streaks that painted the sky in brilliant shades of gold and purple. It was as if the mountain was inviting them closer, promising solace, and perhaps a revelation at its very peak. Yet, amid the beauty and gentle wonder, a subtle current of doubt began to ripple through their hearts. Each step forward was accompanied by the silent question: had they truly come closer to the promise of the gods? Or was this enchanting scenery merely a prelude to unforeseen challenges? Lyra's eyes sparkled with the thrill of the approaching goal, while Elowin's thoughtful gaze lingered on the delicate interplay of light and shadow. Even Caden, whose wisdom usually offered clarity, felt the weight of uncertainty, the realization that every journey holds both wonder and risk. As they moved onward, the harmony of nature blended with the quiet rhythm of their footsteps. The interplay of soft light, gentle breezes, and the delicate fragrance of wildflowers wove an ethereal cocoon around them, one that made time seem to slow. With each passing moment, the summit drew nearer, and with it, the promise of an encounter that could change their lives. Though doubts lingered like distant echoes, they were embraced with a quiet determination. The journey was not just about reaching a physical destination. It was a pilgrimage toward understanding, a tender unfolding of hope that illuminated the path ahead. And so, in the embrace of the mountain's gentle grandeur, the adventurers pressed on. Their hearts, though touched by a whisper of uncertainty, beat in unison with the soft symphony of nature, a testament to the belief that sometimes the very act of reaching for the divine brings its own quiet miracles. As dusk fell gently upon the mountain, the weary adventurers set up camp in a quiet clearing, surrounded by whispering pines and softly glowing fireflies. The crackle of a small, welcoming fire mingled with the subtle rustle of the evening breeze, creating a lullaby that soothed their tired souls. In that serene moment, with the sky painted in the muted hues of twilight, they allowed themselves the respite of sleep. That night, the boundary between reality and dreams blurred, as each traveler was visited by visions that echoed their deepest desires. Lyra, with her brave heart yearning for purpose, dreamt of soaring triumphantly above the battlefield, a realm where her valor was celebrated and her sacrifices transformed into eternal glory. Yet, as the dream unfolded, she also sensed a quiet emptiness behind the accolades, a reminder that true fulfillment could not be found in honor alone. Elowin's dream was filled with tender echoes of family and home. She wandered through a familiar village bathed in soft golden light, where the gentle laughter of loved ones warmed her like a long-forgotten embrace. However, as she reached out to those dear faces, she realized that the vision was as fleeting as a wisp of smoke, a bittersweet reminder of what was lost to the ravages of time and hardship. Caden's dream, wise and somber, transported him to a landscape of calm waters and endless skies. Here, he envisioned a world healed of its wounds, a place where suffering had been replaced by the gentle hum of life and hope. But even in this serene vision, a shadow of sacrifice loomed large. The dream whispered that every cure demanded a cost, and that sometimes the price of peace was the loss of one's own presence. In the soft, shifting realm of these dreams, the adventurers experienced both the beauty of their desires and the poignant void of unfulfilled longing. The night deepened, cradling them in a gentle embrace, as their dreams wove a tapestry of hope, regret, and the bittersweet nature of yearning. When the first light of dawn caressed the horizon, they awoke with hearts both heavy and enlightened. A sense of loss intermingled with the spark of understanding. The night of lost dreams left each of them with a lingering question. Were these visions simply echoes of their deepest wishes, or messages meant to guide them on the path ahead? As they sat together around the dying embers of the fire, the silence was filled with unspoken reflections. Though their dreams had brought a momentary sorrow, they also offered clarity, a gentle reminder that while dreams may be lost in the night, the wisdom gleaned from them can light the way toward a more purposeful journey. At the break of dawn, as the adventurers pressed forward with hearts still echoing the night's dreams, a surreal stillness enveloped the summit's approach. The sky, a gentle canvas of soft blues and blush pinks, seemed to hold its breath. In that tranquil moment, an ethereal presence appeared before them. A luminous figure cloaked in shimmering robes, radiating a light that both warmed and humbled. The figure spoke in a voice that was neither loud nor soft, but carried the resonant tone of ancient wisdom. You who seek the blessings of the gods, you must first prove that your hearts are free from the chains of selfish desire, it intoned. The divine messenger explained that the journey had always been as much about inner transformation as it was about the physical ascent. The gods, it revealed, were not mere dispensers of wishes, but the keepers of profound truths about sacrifice, humility, and the true nature of hope. For each adventurer, the test was uniquely tailored. Lyra was confronted with an illusion of endless battles and accolades, a mirage that beckoned her to embrace glory without the burden of sacrifice. In this vision, she saw herself triumphant, yet isolated, surrounded by the clamor of empty praise. As the illusion faded, Lyra realized that true heroism was born not from the roar of adoration, but from the quiet courage to act selflessly. Elowen faced a vision of her deepest longing, a tender reunion with the family she had lost. In this dream, every smile and embrace was achingly beautiful, yet it carried an undertone of inevitable loss. The poignant echo of transient joy made her understand that the bonds of love, though cherished, often require letting go in order to truly honor the memories and growth they inspire. Caden, the wise elder, found himself in a serene yet haunting vision of a healed world, a place where every wound was mended and every sorrow gently erased. However, he soon sensed that this perfect vision demanded a cost too great to bear, as if the very act of healing would require him to fade away into the ether. Through this trial, he came to recognize that sometimes the preservation of life and the nurturing of hope require sacrifices that transcend the boundaries of the self. As the divine test unfolded, each adventurer was forced to confront not only their deepest desires, but also the potential consequences that lay hidden within them. The luminous figure watched silently, its eyes reflecting both compassion and the unyielding truth of the divine decree. With the first rays of sunlight, the visions gradually dissipated, leaving behind a profound stillness. a moment of clarity where each heart understood that the journey ahead was not merely about the fulfillment of a wish, but the cultivation of inner wisdom and selflessness. In that sacred space, under the watchful eyes of the gods, the trio felt a quiet transformation. They had faced their most intimate fears and yearnings and emerged with a deeper understanding of the balance between desire and duty. With renewed resolve and hearts unburdened by illusory promises, they prepared to continue their ascent, carrying with them the gentle, everlasting lesson that the truest power lies in the capacity to give of oneself for the greater good. As the adventurers neared the final stretch of their ascent, the mountain presented them with an unexpected and symbolic choice. The trail before them split into two distinct paths, a moment that would test the very essence of their resolve and the clarity of their hearts. One path led to a dazzling golden gate, bathed in radiant light that shimmered like molten gold. This route exuded an aura of immediate fulfillment, as if it promised the swift gratification of all their deepest wishes. Lyra, whose spirit longed for recognition and victory, felt a magnetic pull toward the Golden Gate. Its allure whispered of a world where her valor would be celebrated and her battles crowned with triumph, beckoning her to seize the moment and embrace the promise of glory. In stark contrast, the other path disappeared into a mysterious, mist-shrouded forest. The route was less defined, its outcome uncertain, and its beauty veiled in soft, enigmatic fog. This path, with its quiet promise of introspection and gradual discovery, resonated with both Caden and Elowen. They sensed that the mist was not merely an obstacle, but a gentle guide, a call to seek deeper wisdom, to understand that true fulfillment requires patience and sacrifice. The mist carried hints of unseen wonders, urging them to trust that even the most uncertain journey could lead to a destiny of profound meaning. For a long moment, the trio stood at the crossroads, each silently wrestling with the choice before them. The Golden Gate glimmered with an almost hypnotic brilliance, promising instant rewards and a shortcut to desires seemingly within reach. Yet the misty path, though shadowed and unpredictable, offered a slower, more thoughtful passage, one that nurtured the inner self and celebrated the quiet beauty of perseverance. The tension in the air was palpable as each adventurer considered what they truly sought. Lyra's heart pounded with the excitement of potential accolades, the echo of the Golden Gate's siren song tempting her with dreams of swift victory. Meanwhile, Caden and Elowen exchanged a look of quiet understanding. They recognized that the allure of immediate satisfaction could be as misleading as it was brilliant, and that the journey itself held lessons that transcended the fulfillment of any wish. After a moment of deep contemplation, the decision was made not solely by individual desire, but by the silent harmony of their shared commitment. Though tempted by the Golden Gate's brilliance, they agreed that the misty path, uncertain and winding, held the promise of growth and the true revelation of their inner strengths. It was a path that, despite its shadows, could lead to a summit where the true essence of their quest would be revealed. With a collective breath, the adventurers stepped onto the misty path, The cool, enveloping fog closed around them, softening the edges of the world and inviting them to journey inward as much as upward. In that moment of choice, they learned that sometimes the most challenging routes offer the richest rewards, and that the true measure of a wish is not found in its speed of delivery, but in the wisdom gained along the way. Lured by the Golden Gate's dazzling promise, Lyra stepped forward with an eager heart. As soon as she crossed the threshold, she was engulfed in a realm of splendor and fanfare. In this illusion, every surface shimmered with radiant light, and every sound was a symphony of triumphant applause. Crowds of adoring faces surrounded her, their cheers echoing like the roar of an endless crowd. For a time, it felt as if every battle fought and every sacrifice made had led her to this very moment of glory. In this realm of make-believe accolades, Lyra found herself elevated on a pedestal of honor. Victories were celebrated with lavish parades and proclamations of her unmatched bravery. Yet, beneath the glittering surface of praise, a quiet emptiness began to seep in. The adoration, while intoxicating at first, gradually lost its luster. In the echo of the relentless applause, Lyra began to sense that something was amiss. The accolades were hollow, and the grandeur felt contrived, a mere shadow of genuine accomplishment. As hours turned into what seemed like an eternal loop, Lyra tried to move forward, but discovered that the Golden Gate had sealed behind her. The realm of endless glory had become a gilded cage, trapping her in a cycle of repetitive praise and superficial triumphs. In this perpetual state of illusion, the once powerful rush of victory dwindled into a quiet ache, a deep yearning for something real, something beyond fleeting admiration. Deep within her, Lyra recalled the truth that had always whispered to her in quieter moments, that true heroism was found not in the temporary mirage of glory, but in the enduring strength of heart and the quiet sacrifice for a greater cause. As the illusion began to crumble around the edges, the vibrant colors faded to reveal the stark truth. The cheers and the applause dissolved into an eerie silence that spoke louder than any accolade ever could. In that moment of clarity, Lyra realized that the Golden Gate's splendor was a seductive trap, a mirage crafted to divert her from the true path. With newfound resolve, she called out into the silence, determined to break free from the shackles of empty adulation. Her voice, filled with the strength of genuine courage, stirred the illusion. Slowly, the shimmering walls of the Golden Realm began to dissolve, and Lyra felt herself being gently drawn back towards the misty path where her true destiny awaited. In the bittersweet aftermath of her captivity within illusion, Lyra emerged with a wiser heart. She understood that glory sought too quickly can never compare to the profound rewards of a journey marked by struggle, sacrifice, and sincere connection. And as she rejoined her companions, she carried with her the invaluable lesson that the most lasting victories are those that resonate deep within the soul, beyond the transient clamor of false glory. At last, the adventurers reached the summit, where the air shimmered with a surreal blend of twilight and divine luminescence. Here, beneath an expansive sky, embroidered with countless stars, they encountered the gods themselves, ethereal beings whose presence filled the space with an overwhelming sense of ancient power and gentle compassion. In the quiet of that sacred moment, the gods revealed a profound truth. The gift of a wish was not an unearned blessing, but a test of the soul. Elowen was the first to be spoken to. In a soft, resonant voice that echoed like a long-forgotten lullaby, a god offered her the opportunity to reunite with the family she had lost. Before her, a vision unfolded, a warm, golden scene of embraces and laughter, where every sorrow melted away in the glow of heartfelt reunion. Yet, the god's words carried a somber weight. This gift would come at the price of her most cherished memories. Every detail of her past, every smile, every tear would be sacrificed, leaving behind an empty canvas where the vibrant colors of her life once danced. Beside her, Caden listened intently as another god addressed him. In a voice that resonated with both hope and a touch of melancholy, he was offered the chance to cure the world's suffering, a balm for the wounds inflicted by war and famine. The vision of a healed world appeared before him, communities thriving in peace, fields lush with abundance, and hearts no longer burdened by despair. Yet, the price was steep. This miraculous cure demanded the ultimate sacrifice. Caden was to give up his own life, to fade away so that his final act could breathe life into the world around him. The air around them pulsed with the gravity of these choices, each offer a mirror reflecting the inner desires and burdens of their hearts. For a long, silent moment, the summit was filled with the weight of destiny as both Elowen and Caden grappled with the moral implications of the gods' offers. They realized that the wish was not a simple transaction, but a delicate balance between desire and sacrifice, a balance that could unravel the very fabric of what made them whole. In that quiet introspection, a clarity began to emerge. The true wish, they came to understand, was not found in the instantaneous mending of their broken world, but in the deliberate, courageous choice to build a better future from within. Elowen and Caden looked at each other, their eyes filled with a mutual understanding that transcended words. They recognized that by accepting the gods' offers, they might momentarily erase pain, but they would also lose the experiences that had defined their journeys, the very lessons that had shaped their resilient spirits. With gentle resolve, they chose to decline the divine bargains. Instead, they embraced the belief that the power to heal the world lay in the actions of everyday compassion and the perseverance of hope. In their quiet defiance, they conveyed a message to the gods that the true magic of life was not in a single, miraculous wish, but in the collective strength of those who dared to dream and to act with heartfelt integrity. In that transcendent moment at the summit, the gods smiled, a silent acknowledgement of the adventurer's wisdom. They bestowed upon Elowen and Caden a quieter, yet far more profound gift: the wisdom to inspire change, the insight to nurture hope, and the understanding that every small act of kindness could ripple out and transform a weary world. As the divine light gently enveloped them, the realization dawned that the greatest wish had always been to empower those who, even in the face of impossible odds, choose to believe in the promise of a better tomorrow. As the final echoes of the god's presence faded into the vast, starlit sky, the adventurers felt a serene calm descend upon them. The weight of their decisions lingered in the air, but it no longer felt heavy. Instead, it was as if they had found an unspoken peace, a quiet understanding that would guide them forward. They stood together at the summit, their hearts now illuminated not by the fleeting promises of power or glory, but by the enduring light of wisdom and compassion. The gods, with their eternal gaze, offered one last blessing. Though no words were spoken, it was clear to the adventurers that they had been granted something far more valuable than a simple wish. The journey itself, with its trials and revelations, had forged a bond between them that could never be broken. They had faced their own fears, desires, and weaknesses, and in doing so, they had transcended the illusion of what they thought they wanted. They had found the strength to choose the path of true courage, grounded not in immediate rewards, but in the quiet promise of lasting change. With the first rays of dawn slowly touching the mountaintop, the adventurers turned to descend. The path they had once climbed, steep and daunting, fraught with peril, now felt gentle, as if the mountain itself had become a friend, no longer an obstacle, but a guide. The mist had cleared, and the golden light of the morning cast a soft glow over the land below, where the world awaited their return. As they journeyed down the mountain, the adventurers spoke little, each lost in their own thoughts, yet their shared understanding drew them closer than ever. Lyra, once so eager for glory, now felt a quiet fulfillment. The applause she had sought was not found in the grand ceremonies of victory, but in the small, meaningful actions that rippled out into the world, inspiring others to be brave in their own quiet ways. Elowyn's heart, though still heavy with the memories of loss, was now touched with the warmth of acceptance. She knew that love, in all its forms, transcended time and space, and that her family's memory would live on in the choices she made every day. Caden, the elder of the group, had seen enough to know that the world's suffering could not be healed by one man alone, but that collective action, no matter how small, could bring about profound change. As they made their way back to the village, the once desolate land below them now appeared different. Where there had been shadow, there was now light, not of divine miracles, but of the steady and persistent work of those who refused to give up. The village had started to rebuild itself, not through grand wishes, but through the quiet efforts of the people who had remained. Caden's words, the wisdom he had imparted to others along the way, had found fertile soil in the hearts of those willing to listen. Upon returning to the village, the adventurers were not greeted with fanfare, nor did they seek it. The people gathered quietly, recognizing the changes in the travelers' eyes and the calm resolve with which they stood. The adventurers shared what they had learned, not about the gods' promises or the grandeur of wishes, but about the power of the human spirit and the importance of every small act of kindness. The people, inspired by their stories, began to rebuild, not just their homes, but their hearts as well. They understood now that true change didn't come from waiting for miracles, but from believing in their own ability to affect the world, no matter how small or imperceptible their efforts seemed. The village blossomed once more, not through external forces, but through the quiet strength of a community united by shared purpose and hope. As the seasons passed, the adventurers went their separate ways, each continuing their journey in their own way. But the lessons they had learned remained with them. They knew now that every choice, every act of kindness, and every step forward, no matter how uncertain, was a step toward creating a world where the light of compassion and understanding shone brighter than any wish ever could. The gods had granted them no single wish, but instead had revealed to them the true magic of the world, the magic that resides within each person, in every moment of selfless action and humble hope. And so, as the years passed, the story of the ascent to the Mount of the Gods became a legend, a story not of divine intervention, but of the power of the human heart to shape the world. The adventurers, forever changed, lived out their days knowing that the greatest gift had always been the wisdom to walk the path of humility, courage, and love. They had ascended the mountain not to claim a wish, but to discover that the true wish was never about what could be given, but what could be created together.